Hey, this is Ghost Robo, and we are back with part 6 of our Fable 3 Princess playthrough as we follow our dog to a treasure chest. I don't think we need his help very much with that one, kind of right along our path. Are we going to get more gold? Okay, I'm okay with that, as long as it's not worthless stones. So where are we going? Alright, follow the breadcrumb trail as we continue to peruse through this, whatever you want to call it, cavern beneath the library in Brightwall.
Hello. Yes, you'll recall that I mentioned that.
Here are some more flit switches, and this is where we're finally going to get a ranged weapon. And the ranged weapons handle really weirdly in Fable. You can go into an aiming mode, but it's so unwieldy and inaccurate. It's better just to mash on Y and just shoot off some random shots in whatever direction you're targeted towards. So we've got a choice here between a rifle and a pistol. And I figure since we've got a sword and we've got magic, we might as well get something else to support us from long range as opposed to getting in close. We're not like a big, strong character here, so we're going to take the rifle. And once we do, we will now have our full arsenal for combat. And there's not really anything else that's going to be added. Our sword may improve, our rifle may improve. We'll get some new magic attacks, but now we're complete. Feature complete after, what, almost 2 hours of tutorial? Alright, so we are going to continue climbing and continue fighting more skeletons with giant blades. And there's an achievement for killing, I think, 100 guys. Now it gets a little bit more fun because you can very rapidly mix gun with magic with sword, and so you can fight off guys at close range with your sword, roll back and fire off a few shots from your rifle, and it gets a little bit more exciting and interesting as opposed to before when we were just mashing X with our sword or mashing B with magic. This is a very complex tower we've got going on here with retractable bridges and hidden skeletons and all sorts of crazy stuff. And after making that dive into the water last episode, I think now we're climbing pretty high. Actually, heights are one of the very few things that affect me, like physical scares. When I was at the Grand Canyon about 2 years ago, that's probably the scariest place I've ever been, just because walking down into the canyon, you're going on some paths that are only maybe 3 or 4 feet thick. You've got thousands of feet of nothing on either side of you. You make one wrong move and you fall. And nobody really does. You can obviously navigate the whole place super safely, but it's just weird how instantly I was just so creeped out by the huge drops. And I'm surprised that more people don't die or don't accidentally make a mistake in the panic of being so high up. And they have those donkeys and things that will ride people down, and I have no idea how you can build up the desire to want to do that, because then you're not even in control of your own feet. I know that they say that the donkeys and stuff mules are trained and don't ever fall off, but what if they just decide, hey, I'm getting sick of carrying people around, I'm getting sick of the Grand Canyon, so let's go that way and fall thousands of feet to our death. I don't know, I'm not really scared by movies or scary images or whatever, but the Grand Canyon, not a fun place for me to be. We've got more digging going on, and the dog is ever so confused of where to go. He's very slow to find his dig spot, which is kind of frustrating. I wish he'd just boom, beeline to it, or even that it would highlight the dig spot with the breadcrumb trail, because we're not activating anything here. There we go, finally. Retractable shovel. And the dog is rolling on his back up. Slides right off a little hill there. Okay, so we got a slow time potion, which again goes on the D-pad, just like the summon creatures potion. And we will rinse and repeat, go up to the next little floor here, fight a bunch more skeletons. And blocking is a little bit more difficult than I remember in Fable 2. Maybe I'm just not used to the controls. I'm having a tough time timing the blocks correctly. And I sort of like to categorize games into 4 categories in terms of depth. Nothing to do with quality, but just in terms of how much you can do within a game and how large the world is. So you've got shallow, shallow, deep, 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 shallow, and shallow deep. And to give an example, shallow would be something like, I don't know, Crash Bandicoot, a platformer, you know, very linear. You have a very, very limited skill set in a very, very limited world. And then the opposite end of the spectrum would be deep, such as Grand Theft Auto, you know, where you got this huge world to explore, and you can pretty much do anything you want at any time, really. You know, there's set story missions, but you're free to roam about in any way of your choosing. The next one would be shallow deep, which would be something like a God of War, which is a shallow world, but there's a deep variety of things you can do. You know, you've got a huge moveset, you can learn new moves, put points into different things, collect this, collect that, but it is a linear game and you're on kind of a set path. And then there's Fable, which would be what I'd consider a deep, shallow game, which is you've got a deep world, a lot of stuff going on. You can buy property, you can work jobs, you can, you know, upgrade magic. A huge world, but a very shallow set of skills. You know, the combat is very, very basic and very easy. Your interaction with the jobs is very simplistic. Your interaction with the economy is very simplistic, and you know, frankly, I'm not really favorable about that style of game where it seems as if you've got these huge options, and yet you really don't. There's not a lot you can do, and that's why I think so much is riding on that back third with the King-Queen gameplay. And from what I've been hearing, it still falls in that category of deep shallow with, oh, it seems like you're going to have so many great choices, but in reality, it's just very shallow. So that's kind of my categorization of Fable 3 so far, as we make our way back to the road to rule, so we can pick up more special powers, because we've got 81 guild seals, and it's time to buy some stuff.
Congratulations, hero.
So we got Teresa and some Jasper, Walter ghosts here. Alright, so I guess what we were going to collect was the music box, and that's what we're going to gift to Sabine to prove our worth. I don't know how that proves our worth, but that we are able to navigate a very complex and confusing underground cavern. Apparently, he likes to see that. So we're going to upgrade our powers, and I know that you can't buy everything, but I'm not sure in terms of what's the limit. So my strategy as of this point is to buy whatever I want and not really save any guild seals, because it seems like we're getting quite a few. We've got 81 right now, and haven't really fought a lot of big enemies or done much at all. So now we're going to open the music box to see the truth. I would assume music would be in the music box, but apparently there's a cutscene hiding in the music box of evil Vulture Man Logan looking over the very same map that we look over in our sanctuary room.
This is my Albion. Its people will do as I say, or they will die.
That's a very, very harsh proclamation there. So we're, again, setting up how evil and horrible Logan is, so it makes our revolution a little bit more, pack a little bit more of a punch, feel a little bit more emotionally strong when we go and oust our brother here.
This is my Albion.
Got a very moody setting in his lounge.
Before I surrender it.
Oh my.
You have your answer.
Alright.
The kingdom will face its own.
Teresa, move out of the way so we can open this gate and get some more powers. I'm not gonna defeat Logan by standing here and talking. Let's go.
Sabine is a good man, and his people are strong.
Alright, thank you. Here we go. Let's spend some guild seals. Yup, you get guild seals by defeating enemies, engaging with people, completing quests, so everything gives us XP and guild seals, which will allow us to buy different stuff like melee upgrades, ranged upgrades, magic upgrades. There's no specifics in terms of, oh, you're upgrading this stat or that stat. It's just, hey, upgrade your melee weapon, upgrade your magic ability. And then we've got some weird ones over here that only cost, you know, a couple guild seals. Learn the hero pose, learn whistle, be able to dye your clothes. So I'm just going to buy all of these because they're super cheap. And why not? It would be worthless to open them at the end of the game, so might as well get them taken care of early on. If you look at that little achievement tracker in the corner there, it said 2 out of 48. So there's probably 48 chests, and I have no idea how much they all cost. But we're just going to start opening them, because like Christmas morning, it's fun to open stuff. So whatever, these don't cost very much. We're just going to open up all the chests we can see. Landlord pack that allows us to buy and rent property. Shock spell. Do we really want shock? I didn't like shock in Fable 2. It's so much like fire. I guess it stuns them a little bit, but I'm more into the time slowing down spells. The one that allows you to summon different guys if those are still in there from Fable 2. Okay, so we've got a gun upgrade here. A little dramatic. Initially, I thought that all the upgrading of your weapons would be natural as you progress through the game, but I'm no longer sure that that's the case. I think it might be through this system, and maybe you'll get a slight, differentiation if you use your sword a lot or don't use your sword. Maybe it gets a little hilt or something like that, but I think the strength of our weapon is mainly going to come from these upgrades here. So we are going to open up the final upgrade, and you're about to notice a very weird little design decision. You may not even see it in this episode, but you'd think that this portal right here would take us out of the Road to Rule, but in fact it just teleports us to the beginning of the Road to Rule, where we have to take another portal to exit the Road to Rule. Road to Rule doesn't make much sense to me. We've got some gifts here. I'm thinking this is for just day 1 free DLC or something. But we're actually now going to go check out the dyes, because I'm kind of getting sick of this Dweller outfit, and I don't think we need it anymore. So we're going to pretty our princess up and pick something else out here. We don't got a lot of choices, and we don't got a lot of money right now, and I haven't seen any clothing stores. So we're going to make do with what we have. And let's talk a little bit about clothes. I think that malls are kind of fading away, obviously not in the next year or two, but over the course of the decade, with all the online ordering and all the specialty stores, I don't really know that shopping in the mall is going to be very necessary in the future. And similarly with trying on clothes, I'm sure for certain people and certain things it's very important, but for me, I pretty much gone entirely to shopping online for clothes, and I'm very surprised by the fact of how very few items I end up having to send back. You'd think, oh, with sizing this or that. No, I don't. I'm pretty spot on with what I get, and it usually fits right. And granted, I have a pretty easy body to fit, but it's so much easier, I think, when you don't have to go to a store and you can just look online and see every style, every color, every variety, and just pick from there. You also have such a much greater chance of getting something you want, because as opposed to going store to store and trying to compare this and that, you've got so many brands all right there. And actually, my favorite place to shop right now online is karmaloop.com. They sell some pretty cool stuff. Some people may kind of categorize some of it as ghetto wear, but most of it, well, some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. They carry Nike and Adidas and etc. But that is currently my favorite online clothing retailer. And I don't know when the last time I've gone into a store to buy like a shirt was, because there just isn't as much variety. It's kind of time consuming. So we're trying on some different outfits here, and I don't know that I like any of them, but this seems to be the most comfortable combination here. No, we don't want to wear pajamas. And Jasper has some kind of witty little comments here about our clothing choices. And those pants are pretty ugly too. So we're gonna go back to the dress, lower body dress skirt thing. And if you're getting frustrated with how long we're spending in the dressing room here, I apologize. I think it's kind of indicative of real world. Girls take longer to get dressed than boys. So our princess is going to take longer than maybe your prince would. But at least we're on the ground, right? We're not up high like, oh my god, I'm going to fall at the Grand Canyon. Because that was not a good feeling. I'm not afraid to admit that there were some times where I was crawling down those paths, because, man, looking over both edges and seeing gigantic rocks thousands of feet below, that's just not my kind of thing. So we're going to make some squishy dye choices here as we go from blue to green to red and test out the little colors that we've got. We've got very few colors, and I don't really like the green, so we're going to end up just going with blue and white. Keep it classy, keep it simple, keep it comfortable. And as we wrap up this episode, I wanted to say thank you very much for watching. And we will get episode 7 up very quickly. In the meantime, you can check out my Let's Play of Minecraft that is just started up. Got 1 episode out. We'll be putting out episode 2 very shortly, so check that out on my channel. But until next time, we will see you later.